Today, I want to express myself to tell you how we can mobilize our energy to combat effectively climate change. It's happening. We know that. Global emissions continue to rise. And we have now, of course, more than 30 years of political efforts and negotiation. And despite of all this, and despite increasing scientific warning, this is continuing to rise. So how GHG emission, as you know, is a product of our human activities based on an economic system that is fundamentally extractivist and based on fossil fuel activity since more than 2 centuries. At last now, there is no denial of this by most leaders, both from political leaders as well as economic leaders, both in finance, in industry, elsewhere. So that's good, but there is still an enormous economic dissonance, cognitive dissonance between this element of knowledge and the action that are put in place. So the first thing I would like to communicate with you is how recognizes this cognitive dissonance, how we make this change, how we move from a passive reaction vis-a-vis this catastrophe looming to something much more active. And this is about energy. So first, I would like that we really exert the negative side of the energy, the pressure, the resistance, the protest. I think we have to speak the truth to power. We have to create really pressure on them and to make them accountable. That's the first phase of the energy. Reality check. How finally we speak truth to power is how we ask the government who has committed to be net zero by 2050, what are their plans? What are the laws? Did they stop to fund fossil fuel with subsidies? Did they really invest the public money in the right direction? Did they finally decide to green their budgeting? So this is the way we should make government accountable. Ask them about the law, about the budget, about the investment, about the policy. And we can do that through the vote, through the protest, through the demand vis-a-vis political leaders. The companies really have done a lot to say they want to implement Paris Agreement. They say they will be ambitious, they will be zero carbon by sometime 2030, beyond and below what the government has decided. But did they put plans that are really consistent with what they want to say? Did they really change their business models? Did they finally introduce a totally different way to work? Even for investors, the investors, we have to ask them to say, are you really consistent in your portfolio vis-a-vis what you are declared? So first, the energy is about make all these leaders accountable through all the means, taking the floor in shareholders' assembly, protesting in the street, name and shame, voting, campaigns, everything. Pressure, speak up, truth to power, that's the first phase. The second one is create the new model, the bridge the hope gap. Impetus is high positive, high energy. And because we can use this negative element, the protest, the resistance, we can use and we need to use the positive energy to mobilize the energy of creation. We have to step up and create the new model that is much less intensive in material consumption. It's about creating local connection. Example for healthy food is about imagine a world where overconsumption, mass production, and destruction is not of object, is not the end of the world, is not the value, that the value is much more between a new system of values and economic organization. We need to put that in place. We need to create locally, even if we think that as a big utopia. But utopia is a way to consider that our life can change. And even when you look at the world like it is, it seems strange it doesn't seem logic, it doesn't seem rational. So it's opened the possibility of change. That's the positive creation, creative mind we have to develop, myself, yourself, and all together. We have to really make a plea for a low impact consumption, to really the real full circular economy of the 21st century. We have to create forum for citizen participation to discuss local projects, urban planning, landscape, protection of local commons. We have to propose new laws, new regulation that prevent excessive concentration of power, allow for experimentation, and really prevent the destruction to happen. But we have to convince others as well. It's not only presenting the better life, presenting the creative and the positive energy. Well, it's about speaking about a new form of living. But form of living, it depends very much on where you are. And we cannot preach, you cannot invent the better life for others. So we have to convince others that there is a better life than the one we are living. And that's not just presenting a very far away model. It's starting from where people are, the farmers in their own situation today, who are indebted, who most of the time cannot change their production model because of the constraint, is about the way people work and cannot decide and implement a better life for them. All these constraints, we have to bring them along. We have to bring people along to imagine the better life in the way they are wanting to live it. So we have to convince others to coalesce with us. And we have to do that job, to talk to people directly, to open the discussion with them on what a better life should look like for them, what kind of constraint for the change we have to combat and to change and to facilitate the way out the life they are living in. So speak the truth to power, be creative, and imagine the new systems that, in a way, it's a cottage industry of the 18th century, in the 19th century, but you have to invent a new system step by step, and convince people that we can go along all together, that we could really, really work together to improve definitely the way we live. And this positive energy, it's always, of course, more difficult to mobilize positive energy. Anger is useful. Anger allows people to step up and to say that the system is not fair, it's irrational, it's unjust, and we have to break this constraint. But positive energy is more difficult to mobilize. And that's the job of everyone, to mobilize the positive energy for the change. I can tell we cannot combat climate change with only recommendation, negotiation, policy. I've been there drafting the Paris Agreement. I can tell you the change has to be taken and conducted in societies, by societies. And this is a totally collective endeavor. So I hope together with me, myself, yourself, all together, we'll be able to really transform the anger into the positive energy and the creative idea of the future, and to convince many, many others to join. I will really wait for you to come back with me on that long journey.